Of Campbell River, BC, this is your chance to win big thanks to Save on Foods' $1 million touchdown to win. If a kickoff is returned for a touchdown, you could win groceries for a year. If 2 kickoffs are returned for touchdowns, you could win $1 million. Let's get you to Montreal and join Rod Smith and Dwayne Ford.
All right, Kate, we welcome you to Montreal on this clear, chilly afternoon in November. The first Eastern final in this city in 12 years, the first one in the stadium at McGill. But the familiarity is certainly there between the opponents, Dwayne Ford. Third straight year they meet for a right to go to the Grey Cup. And we all remember what happened last year. Certainly Chad Kelly does.
Yeah, roughest start of the season for Chad Kelly in 2023. Threw a couple of pick sixes in that ball game, including one on the opening drive. We'll talk about it as this one unfolds, but how the Argos start is going to be a significant factor in this ball game. And there you see one of the guys looking to make Chad Kelly's life miserable, the most outstanding defensive player in the Eastern Conference this season, Tyrese Beverette. You'll notice him line up in various places around the field on that defense.
Jason Moss followed up last year's Grey Cup victory with the best record in the CFL this season. He's the East nominee for Coach of the Year. And Ryan Dinwiddie has made it to this game all 4 years as Argos head coach. This will be the first one on the road. The Alouettes won the toss. They want the ball. The Argos to kick it from the west. Heading west, Ryan Dinwiddie's team to send it the Alouettes' way. James Letcher back for it. Who's going to the Grey Cup in Vancouver? We start finding out now with Letcher taking it just inside the 20. East finals underway as he takes a hit, and he does get tackled just shy of the Montreal 40 for Cody Fajardo. Missed 4 games with injury this season. He still had the highest completion percentage in the CFL at 73.
Yeah, one of the things that stands out about Cody Fajardo, in addition to that completion percentage, is a level of consistency from game to game, and that he didn't have a single game this year in which he threw more interceptions than touchdown passes.
Alouettes looking for that quick start that you talk about. When they score first, their record is outstanding. Only 1 loss this season from the 38. Faking the handoff to Walter Fletcher, and he does dish it off, but coming in quickly is Tavares McFadden on the fullback David Dallaire in a short game.
We take a look at the offense. Josh Donovan, who started at right tackle most of the season, out with injury. Jamar McGloster, the starter a year ago, back in the lineup the last couple of weeks. He's at that right tackle spot. Cole Speaker, Montreal's leading receiver this season, leading receiver in each of the 3 games against the Argonauts in the regular season as well.
2nd and 7 after that 3-yard pickup by Dallaire. A 3-man rush, a quick throw, bobbled, nearly picked off as well. Tunde Adeleke had a chance. It was intended for Charleston Rambo. It's incomplete, and the opening possession for the Alouettes is a 2-and-out.
Yeah, Charleston Rambo, coming from the outside, is going to work his way into traffic a little bit here with Sneed clearing things out. See good coverage on the play. Benji Franklin supplying the initial coverage. Adeleke in support, as you said, nearly coming up with the turnover.
Back in week 6 on this very field, Janarian Grant had a punt return for a touchdown. Ended up doing it in 3 straight games. Joseph Zima to get this one away and sending it right as Grant takes it down around the 15, and not much room down there. He gets what he can before he is pushed out of bounds by Jacob Mason. Chad Kelly, the most outstanding player in the CFL 1 year ago, but his worst start in the CFL came in this game a year ago. He threw 4 interceptions. The Alouette defense dominated that day.
Well, they certainly did. And fascinating start to that one for the Toronto Argonauts as their offense was marching on their opening possession. As they got into scoring position, Marc-Antoine Dequoy came up with the pick 6 that just seemed to open the floodgates and get in the head of Chad Kelly.
First play from scrimmage Argos, and that one sailing it off for Janarian Grant and a little bit wide for him. Tried to lead him, it falls incomplete. 2nd down.
Taking a look at the Toronto Argonauts offense along the O-line. Ryan Hunter started most of the season at left guard. He's at left tackle today, the East Division's most outstanding offensive lineman. And keep an eye on Mackay Polk, over 100 yards 6 times in his last 8 games.
He's been one of the great receivers in the CFL in the back half of the season. 2nd and 10. The Argo 26. Kelly steps up, gets rid of it, and it is intercepted. Najee Murray has it. He was waiting for it. And a good return here into the Argo zone, and finally he is tackled, and the ball came out. You see who touched it before heading out now. And the
Argo's offensive line is walking back out on the field.
Yeah, Toronto touched the ball, so they got a break on the Murray interception leading to a fumble. Big break for the Argos as Kelly was picked on that pass. There you see it come out. Last one to touch it, Kadeem Carey. First big moment of this game, an interception by Montreal's Najee Murray, who had a great return, but fumbled the football, Dwayne, and the Argos got it just before going out of bounds.
Yeah, forced pass, big mistake for Kelly out of the gate. Easy interception for Murray. Mackay Polk comes back and drops the hammer to get the strip. Looked like Murray was close to being down on that one, but ruled a fumble on the play. Argos come up with it.
So a reprieve for Kelly and the Argos. First down and handing off on the sweep. It's Janarian Grant. Trying to make use of Grant's abilities in the open field. He has a good run there, taking it to the wide side for a gain of 12 and a first down.
And taking a look at the Alouette defense, keep an eye on defensive end Isaac Adeyemi-Berglund, the East Division's most outstanding Canadian, leads the team with 7 sacks, 5 in his last 6 games played. Darnell Sankey is the team's leader in tackles. He and Beverett both over 100 on the season. Wesley Sutton, curious to see how much he's involved in coverage from that halfback spot, how often he blitzes, which he did on the interception.
1st and 10, and running again. It's Kadeem Carey, who had a big day the last time the Argos played the Alouettes back in Week 17. In fact, the Argonauts dominated the running game in that 6-point victory.
And here's a look at last year's Eastern Final matchup between these two teams. The struggles of Chad Kelly, pick 6 for Marc-Antoine Dequoy. The opening series, one in the 3rd quarter by Kabianento. One of 4 INTs thrown by the Argos quarterback in that ballgame.
That Dequoy pick just set the tone for the entire game. Kelly is throwing. And that one, it was intended for Mackay Polk, who falls on it just in case it's incomplete. Wesley Sutton in on the coverage there. And the punting team will come on for Toronto.
Yeah, big defensive play there by Sutton, because if he doesn't pop this ball out the way he's committed to attacking the football on the play, there's no one between Polk and the goal line if he's able to hold on to that one and make the turn.
So John Haggerty will punt for the first time in this Eastern Final. In his 3rd year out of Sydney, Australia. And back for James Letcher, who became a game breaker last year late in the season, including a kick return for a touchdown in the Eastern Final against the Argos. Letcher inside the 25, across the 30 and to the 40. Alouette football. Cody Fajardo broke out as a Grey Cup champion last year, getting ready to go to work.
Got white lightning running through our veins, and we'll die trying to save our family name. Where the whippoorwills will, the coyotes cry way back in the holler where the moon shines.
Cody Fajardo this season, coming off that Grey Cup victory, threw for over 3,000 yards, 16 touchdowns, 7 intercepted, and missed 4 games with injury in the middle of the season.
Yeah, and not to mention fighting through a lot of injuries in that receiving corps. A lot of personnel in and out. But Fajardo guiding this Montreal team to the CFL's top regular season record. Looking to find their mojo again down the stretch.
Scoreless tie early in this Eastern Final at Molson Stadium in Montreal. A 1st and 10. Fajardo off to the right. That's off to the other fullback. Jacob Mason puts his head down. Mason in his 2nd year out of McMaster. He's seen thrown to the fullbacks a couple of times so far in this game. Gotta like that, Dwayne Ford.
Yes, sir. Jacob Mason, just his second catch, one during the regular season. He and David Dallaire getting involved early here. Alouettes adding a few wrinkles to the short passing game that is their bread and butter.
Setting up a second down and 1 at the Montreal 50. Fajardo, he goes back, looking to run, finds a room, gets the edge there and gets the first down easily for the Alouettes. Gain of 11 yards on the ground for Cody Fajardo.
Yeah, nice play design. Leaves Cody Fajardo with an option to run or throw as he's had Austin Mack releasing down the sideline. Third and short. Good job by Mack to get an outside release, get his defender turned, create that lane to the outside for Fajardo.
Rushed for 277 in the season, averaging 5.4 a carry. Handing off on the ground. Walter Fletcher breaks right through.
Ball's on
the ball comes out and Deshaun Amos is on it. And this is the second fumble by the Alouettes in this game. So the Argos once again benefit from a Montreal turnover.
Yeah, set up for a big play here. Fletcher just to the left of that goalpost in the backfield with quarterback Cody Fajardo. Nice job up front, creating a run lane, but Mark Milton comes over the top with the strip to separate Walter Fletcher from the football. Deshaun Amos, 2 fumble recoveries in the regular season. Comes up with a big one here in the Eastern Final.
Another good break for the Argos, who lost the turnover battle badly a year ago in the Eastern Final when they turned it over 9 times. It's back to Kadeem Carey, who works his way up just across the Toronto 30 now. Mark Milton, who started his season with the Hamilton Tiger Cats, got let go and signed on with Toronto and has found a place in that Argonaut secondary.
Yeah, the Argos went through a few different bodies trying to figure out who was going to play that boundary halfback position for them. Mark Milton eventually emerged as the guy. Comes up with a huge defensive play there.
You hear those air horns? They're known for that here at Molson Stadium, creating noise for the opposing offense. Blitz coming. Kelly gets rid of it, and it's caught by Mackay Polk. Up across the 50. The top receiver for the Argos, the rookie, Polk. Their nominee is Rookie of the Year with a big catch.
Yeah, Polk on the left side of your screen gets an inside release, working against Lorenzo Burns. As soon as Kelly sees that he's got the release, he's got position, he just lays it up there and lets 15 go and get it.
Polk had a big day last week in the Eastern semifinal. He had 4 catches for 158 yards, including a 70-yard touchdown in the first half against the Ottawa Redblacks. Big one there. They get them close to midfield, and it's Kadeem Carey. Puts his head down. Another good pickup into the Alouette zone, down closer to the Montreal 50. With more on Mackay Polk, really burst onto the scene, as you mentioned, Dwayne, especially in the second half of the season, working with Chad Kelly.
Yeah, big year for the rookie receivers in the East Division. Mackay Polk really coming on late. You see those numbers since week 14, as I mentioned. 6 of his last 8 games, including last week, he's been over 100.
Ended up the season with 61 catches for 1,024 yards and 5 touchdowns. Faking to Carey this time. Lots of time for Kelly. He looks deep. Down again into double coverage. Knocked away. Intended for David Ungerer. Duquois was there along with Lorenzo Burns. And we have a 3rd and 3 coming up now for Toronto.
Yeah, Ungerer lining up to that boundary side. Often you'll see him on the wide side of the field. He's going deep. Polk is going to give you a post and then break to the corner to try and hold coverage down low. But Marc-Antoine Duquois doing a nice job getting deep to provide some support for his corner, Lorenzo Burns, on the play.
So the Argonauts benefiting from a couple of fumble recoveries, but despite progressing into the Alouette zone, are stopped there. They'll have to punt again. With Haggerty back at the Toronto 45. James Letcher standing at his 10. Letcher running over to his right. Just a beautiful punt. Impossible for Letcher to do anything with that. by John Haggerty. Ungerer broken up by Dequoy. 0-0 tie, first quarter. The Argos co-defensive coordinators Will Fields and Kevin Iben. Even though it was a high-scoring playoff game last week, Dwayne, Toronto's defense really stepped up late in the game to seal the deal.
Yeah, they certainly did. Wynton McManus coming up with the interception, causing his coach's heart to skip a beat with the lateral to Tarvaris McFadden, who took that one to the house. Moments later, it was Benji Franklin going the distance on his own. The defense sealed the deal.
Montreal ball on a 1st and 10. Fajardo moving around the pocket, looking to check it down. He does. For Fletcher, it's intercepted. Speaking of Benji Franklin and a pick six. It's happened again for number 23, and the first points on the board in this Eastern Final. Also a pick six, this time for the Argos.
Well, this is one of the things, given the trends between these two teams, that we anticipated could be a factor, is defense and special teams putting points on the board. Cody Fajardo, with the walls closing in, finds Fletcher as an outlet. Fletcher had the fumble moments ago, lets that one go off his fingertips. And Benji Franklin puts the Argos on the board first. Huge. We talked about the start. Montreal is 9-1 this season when they score first in a ball game.
What a start. And reminiscent the other way around in this Eastern Final. This is what the Argos are looking for. Marc-Antoine Dequoy, a pick six to open the scoring a year ago. Benji Franklin to do the same for Toronto this time around.
Yeah, Benji Franklin playing the boundary corner out near the top of your screen. Walter Fletcher in the backfield off the run fake. As Fajardo scrambles, you see Fletcher just gets himself into an outlet position with Isaac Darkangelo closing. Fletcher's eyes are taken off the football. He loses that one off his fingertips, and Benji Franklin, right place, right time. Back-to-back postseason pick sixes for the Argo corner.
And coming off a game a year ago when turnovers were such a big part of the story, Dwayne, already in this game there have been 4 turnovers, 2 in one play. Najee Murray, the interception, then the fumble, another fumble by the Alouettes, and then that interception that goes back into Montreal's end zone by Benji Franklin.
Yeah, big play for the Toronto Argonauts. Holding tough. We discussed it during the regular season. The games in which Montreal has struggled this year basically are when opponents get off to a good start against them, keep the game close, don't let Montreal get going. Montreal's designed formula for victories to get off to a good start. That's the reason they took the ball when they won the coin toss in this ball game instead of waiting to see the wind in the second half.
So Liram Hairolau kicks it off. James Letcher has it. The Alouettes in an early hole after a pick six. And a good return going here by Letcher. He can break him. Got a great one there as he gets into the Argo zone across midfield for James Letcher. And mentioning those turnovers, have another look at what's happened so far. Well, there was the one committed by Toronto, picked off by Najee Murray, but he just as quickly gave it back to him.
Yeah, Mackay Polk coming back with the strip. Kadeem Carey with the recovery. Funny way for the Argos to get a first down. Then Walter Fletcher on a big run gets stripped from behind by Mark Milton. Deshaun Amos with the recovery. And there the pass off the fingertips of Fletcher into the waiting arms of Benji Franklin with his second defensive touchdown of the postseason.
Back-to-back weeks for Benji Franklin. Back in the ground. Walter Fletcher, once again, like on the play that he fumbled on earlier, finds an opening through that Argo front seven. Works up a good game.
Yeah, looking at Toronto defensively, Jake Serezna at D-tackle has been an absolute stud for the Argos all season long. Wynton McManus had a pick six here when these two teams met in week 6. Had the pick last week, for which Tarvaris McFadden, the field corner for the Argos, had the 6 after the lateral.
2nd and 2 after the gain by Fletcher. Back in his hands. First down. The Montreal mentioned, certainly got outrushed in their last meeting against the Argos in Toronto, trying to really establish the running game in this one.
Yeah, and big response for Montreal here. Thus far, started with a fantastic return by James Letcher. And Fletcher, after a couple of mistakes in this ball game.
42 read stone, W slide, Z stitch, X Halloween. Even, ready?
Aggressive first down run and fighting through traffic to move the sticks for his team. Looking to put those early mistakes behind him.
Down to the Argo 31 now. Alouettes trailing by 7. A fake to Fletcher. Fajardo rolling left, throwing that way, out of bounds it goes. Second down coming up. You mentioned the pick 6 by McManus. That was actually off Caleb Evans because Fajardo was injured early in that second meeting. The first one here back in week 6 against the Argos, and done for 4 weeks with a hamstring injury.
Yeah, you talk about the 3 regular season games between the two teams. That one did sort of materialize as a battle of the backups as Chad Kelly was still serving his suspension. Cameron Dukes, the starter for the Toronto Argonauts at that time.
Dukes, who had started 8 of the first 9 games for Toronto. Nick Arbuckle, the other one. And then after serving the 9-game suspension, Kelly came back. Played 8 in the regular season. Here's Fajardo. Deep look over the middle. Oh my goodness, nearly a brilliant catch by Charleston Rambo. Just couldn't hang on. Right in behind coverage. Mouthpiece comes out, but the ball hits the turf.
Yeah, beautiful adjustment to the football. Rambo coming left to right on your screen. It's the way he tracked the football where the defenders weren't able to. But couldn't come up with the one-handed grab in the end, trying to use that. Keep the left arm up to keep the ball off the turf. Heck of an effort, but unfortunately unable to get the completion.
Jose Maltos on to try this field goal from 38 yards. He's been the Alouettes kicker since week 5 after the injury to David Cote. And Maltos, who missed only 3 during the regular season, he gets that one. Back comes Chad Kelly in the Argo offense.
Said you ain't seen nothing yet. Now, baby, you just ain't seen nothing yet. Here's something that you're never gonna forget. Oh, but baby, you just ain't seen nothing yet.
Welcome back to Montreal, where the Argos are up 7-3. And if you know that sound, you know you're in Montreal, and it is a pain for many of the opposition who come here. And it's not always great for the broadcast, but it adds something to the atmosphere. And Cardi Fajardo knows it's a huge advantage for the Montreal Alouettes. As a starter for this franchise, I'm extremely thankful for them. Opposing, when I came in this place, absolutely hated them. So it just goes to show how effective they are. And I understood how effective they were, because when I came into this place as an opposing quarterback, I just understood how difficult it was. It just pierces, you know, the sound pierces through. I'm a big fan of them now. In the past, I wasn't, but I'm Team Horns.
Cody Fajardo's understandably changed his tune here, but yeah, you be sure visiting QBs aren't big fans.
Yeah, no doubt. You have to be prepared. It's one of the factors you're going to face here.
Little screen set up to one of the newest members of the Argos. That's Jake Herslow, who's playing just his 3rd game. He finished the regular season, and then last week at the playoffs had a touchdown in each game.
Yeah, I mean, there becomes a need as you see the aggressiveness of those with the horns.
Flying a red left, 60 backside captains are center T wide on top. Ready?
Absolutely screaming even in the huddle, and you got to go silent count as an opposing quarterback. They're trying to do what they can to throw him off. 2nd and 6 after that pickup by Herslow. Kelly gets rid of it to Kadeem Carey, but the ball comes out, and they say it is incomplete, not a lateral, but it was close as they got the heat on Kelly, tried to just dish it off to Carey, but incomplete pass, 3rd and 6. John Haggerty will come back on.
Yeah, and watch the rush coming from the outside. It looks like Jeffrey Keta-Arku on the rush. Ryan Hunter, the left tackle, just gives up a little too much ground on that one. Pocket collapsing in the face of Chad Kelly. He's got nowhere to step up. He tries to improvise getting it to his running back.
So defense has, for the most part, dominated in this Eastern final so far, including the points on the board. The courtesy, an interception for a touchdown by Benji Franklin. Alouettes did work down for a field goal last time, and they got that return coming up there by James Letcher. Well, scan the QR promo code on screen to get 40% Crave annual plans and start streaming the biggest hit shows everyone's talking about. That is only on Crave.
Right now, CFLs, we're going to go gold to left, X slow, 849, W slick, X Rodney, Nitro, Y Maxim. Ready?
That's why he's okay with the air horns. We don't hear any there, do we?
Exactly. Exactly. The fans have learned. Terrorize the opposing offense. Let your offense communicate.
Alouettes down 4. Taking the handoff, pump fake, deep look. Right down the rail for Austin Mack. Too far and out of bounds. Mack, who was their top receiver in 2023 and a huge game in the Grey Cup, but for coming back from the NFL, he's been hurt most of the season.
Well, it looked like there was potential for a big play here, as you'll see the pump fake from Cody Fajardo. It'll hitch. Mack gets in behind Benji Franklin. There's a little window there between Franklin and the safety. Royce Metier coming over in coverage. But Fajardo and Mack unable to connect there.
Mack with just 10 catches for 145 yards this season. 2nd and 10 at the 27. Quick throw, caught. First down, first catch this Eastern Final for Keon Julian Grant inside the Toronto 40 and a gain of 13.
Yeah, this is one of the receivers Montreal was missing for their playoff run last season. Julian Grant battling injury the second half of last year. Spent a little time on the IR this season, but obviously thrilled to have this dangerous receiver back in their lineup for this Eastern Final.
Across the Alouette 40, but a first down at their 41. Julian Grant off. 2 receivers off to the right, and then faking and getting it to Cole Speaker, their leading receiver in 2024. And Speaker has another first down up close to midfield.
Well, we talk a lot in today's CFL about the quick passing game, the screen game, etc. And teams trying to pick up yards after the catch being such a big part of their offense. One of the keys to that being successful is other receivers blocking, and in this case it's going to be Charleston Rambo on the outside. He knows the ball's coming short to Cole Speaker, times it up perfectly, waiting for the ball to be caught. Then he latches onto the corner, Benji Franklin, to allow Speaker to escape outside.
From the Alouette 53, another play action fake. Fajardo looks to take off, and he does. Takes a hit, slides down, and crowd's reacting to the hit he took as he looks to have another first down for Montreal, or very close to one.
Yeah, the crowd looking for a call as Fajardo did slide, but it was late on the slide as McManus was already committed to the hit on the play. Good decision made here by Fajardo, not trying to force something. He sees open ground in front of him, allows him to get close to that first down.
And he stays in for short yardage here on a 2nd and inches at the Toronto 48. And back to throw. And it's a bit in behind Julian Grant there. They had a down to play with. It'll be a 3rd and short coming up here now late in the 3rd quarter. But he had Julian Grant open and just put it a little bit behind.
Yeah, perfect call in the situation, sort of a freebie for Montreal in 2nd and short, knowing they've got another down. But just a miss there as the ball's thrown a little behind. Kay and Julian Grant unable to get himself turned around to get 2 hands on that one.
So Fajardo stays in on this 3rd and short. Into the Argo zone, trailing 7-3. There's seconds to go in the first quarter. Fajardo keeps, and he does have the first down. Royce Metier on his 28th birthday, hauling Fajardo down, but this Alouette drive will continue. The veteran Metier, the safety for the Argos, celebrating his birthday with an appearance in the Eastern Final, trying to get back to the Grey Cup.
43 Reed Stone.
Yeah, leading that Toronto Argonaut defense in tackles this season.
Flat. Sit on.
Walter Fletcher back in the Montreal backfield. It's Tyler Sneed in motion and going back to the right, handing off to Fletcher and pushes up for a couple more yards. Walter Fletcher, late flags coming out after that one is whistled dead. And what would be the final play of the first quarter?
Illegal block, hands to the face. Toronto number 35. 10-yard penalty, first down. That is the end of the first quarter.
As announced by the referee, Tom Valesi. First 15 minutes of the Eastern Final in the books. The Argos have the lead thanks to a pick six. Back in Montreal, the numbers through a quarter. Like last year early on, this game being dictated by defense and problems with ball security.
Yeah, it's been the story, absolutely, of the first quarter. 3 turnovers one way, 1 the other. Not a lot of huge offensive numbers so far. We'll see how things continue here as we go on.
Well, let's get some thoughts from Jim Barker down on the sideline. Jim?
Well, it's really interesting what Montreal's doing. On first down, they have all their defensive linemen in. They're running a double eagle, which covers every offensive lineman. Then on second down, all but Dylan Winley's. They have 1 defensive lineman in, and everybody else is linebackers. Sometimes they bring them, sometimes they drop them. But to the Argos, it's a tough look.
Thank you, Jim. Boy, there's a man who knows both sides of this matchup in the East Final. Jim was with the Alouettes as their OC in 2002 against the Argos, and of course with the Argos when they came in here the last time it was played in Montreal back in 2012 and bumped as Austin Mack by Benji Franklin, who has the Toronto touchdown after that catch and a pickup of 6.
Yeah, big collision there as we saw a little friendly chatter between these two earlier as Cody Fajardo tried to catch Benji Franklin. A little bit of a hitch and go move earlier in the ball game.
R snag, S ball, Y flat, X hawk, jerks, W wide. On, ready?
As Fajardo calls out the play. 2nd and 4 coming up at the Toronto 30, already in scoring range again.
Green and 2! Green and 2!
Halftime. Wanted to dish it off and he couldn't, so he just gets as much as he can down to the 29, but it's a 3rd down coming up, and looks like Jose Maltos will come on to see if he can add 3 more for Montreal.
Good job. Good job.
Cody Fajardo facing some pressure from that Toronto Argonaut defensive line. Certainly one of the strengths of this double blue squad.
A 36-yard try coming up here for Maltos. Had one from 38 before. He was 33 of 36 in the regular season. Joseph Zima to put it down. And Maltos is perfect to cut that Argo lead to 1.
My memory and money horses, river that I'm in. New Orleans is sinking, man, and I don't wanna swim.
In the second quarter of the 2024 Eastern Final, the winner of this game goes to the Grey Cup in Vancouver against either Saskatchewan or Winnipeg. That's to be determined later today at Princess Auto Stadium in Winnipeg. Cody Fajardo, one of the heroes a year ago against Winnipeg, and that memorable drive to win it in the final minute at Tim Hortons Field in Hamilton. 1st and 10 at the Toronto 40. And Kadeem Carey is the ball carrier, picks up a few more yards. 2nd and long coming up.
Good first season in Toronto for Kadeem Carey after coming over from Calgary in free agency. Making life difficult on defenders, as you see, causing the most missed tackles as a ball carrier this season, leading the league.
The crowd and the air horns picking up again on this 2nd down and 7. Chad Kelly, they've got him. Kelly gets sacked. Isaac Adeyemi-Berglund and Dylan Wynn coming in. Adeyemi-Berglund, who was the nominee in the East for most outstanding Canadians, had a terrific year, his first in Montreal.
There you see Adeyemi-Berglund, third man in from the right in that defensive alignment. Quick defensive end working against an offensive guard, usually not having to deal with that kind of quickness in pass rushers. Dylan Giffen there beaten by Adeyemi-Berglund.
He was one off the lead for sacks in the regular season. He had 7.
That's 6 in his last 7 games for the Dartmouth, Nova Scotia native.
Taking that punt is Letcher, 35-40, dancing around and finally gets pushed back. D'Arcangelo and Adeboboy in there to take him down. Breakout year, Adeyemi-Berglund, and the sack on Chad Kelly in a 7-6 Argo lead. Got a 7-6 game, second quarter in Montreal. Argos scored first on a defensive touchdown, and back-to-back field goal drives by the Alouettes, who have the ball again just outside their 40. That is caught. The flag is out right away. Charleston Rambo just taking that one up across the 45.
Offside. Toronto number 97. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
They flagged the end, Derek Parrish, and so the 1st and 5 now coming up here for Montreal across their 45.
Yeah, Derek Parrish, nice addition to that D-line rotation for the Toronto Argonauts.
W smoke.
Saw that little stutter step just a split second early.
And only the second flag of this game so far. 1st and 5. Sean Thomas Erlington. First down and more. He's still going. 35-30. Finally tripped up down inside the 25 for the Montreal native, enjoying his time back in his hometown. The former Ticat, Sean Thomas Erlington, with the Alouettes' biggest offensive play of the day.
Yeah, providing support for Walter Fletcher in that backfield. Experienced playoff performer, Sean Thomas Erlington. You mentioned his time with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Comes up with one of the biggest offensive plays of the game thus far for the Alouettes.
Gain of 38 yards for Sean Thomas Erlington. This time Walter Fletcher. 3-4 more yards. Thomas Erlington, by the way, knows what it's like to win a championship collegiately too with the Montreal Cataban. Playing for Danny Machocha's Cataban, a playoff game today, but another look at that run.
A couple of nice moves, but basically lowering his shoulders and keeping those legs churning. Allow him to break a couple of tackles on that one.
2nd and 6. Off to the left. Caught. First down. Julian Grant again. Inside the 10. 1st and goal coming up here for Montreal.
Julian Grant just sits this one down in a hole in coverage. Easy throw for Fajardo. Another first down for Montreal on the play.
Gain of 13, and the first time either offense has ventured into the red zone in this East Division final today. Alouettes threatening to take the lead, which would be their first of this game. The 1st and goal from the Toronto 8. Fajardo rolling out to the right, looks to the end zone. Touchdown, Alouettes! It is Keon Julian Grant. He had one touchdown in the regular season. Got an even bigger one now.
Julian Grant on the out, working towards that sideline. Cody Fajardo on the move. Drops it in there perfectly with Mark Milton chasing on the play. As mentioned, Julian Grant, due to injury, missed the Grey Cup run last season. Couldn't be in the lineup. His close friend Tyson Philpott emerging as a star during that stretch. Philpott told him coming into this postseason, now it's your time, buddy.
Malta's with the point after. Yeah, you're looking at an opposite scenario here so far. With Philpott done for the season. Julian Grant couldn't enjoy that championship on the field last year, but enjoying that in the end zone. Alouettes in front.
A big touchdown there for Keon Julian Grant. Puts the Owls in the lead. He's coming in motion. Mark Milton, the halfback, he knows he's got him in man coverage and he's spying them the whole way. But it's a crossing route concept, basically trying to lose Milton in traffic as Julian Grant works across the formation. Variation on this one for Montreal is that Julian Grant, as Fajardo is on the scramble, continues to climb deeper in the end zone into open space as opposed to the Owls hitting him across the middle. Great play call, well executed, and a good adjustment on the play by Julian Grant as Fajardo was forced out of the pocket.
Short kickoff and taken by Deontay McMahon. His return approaches the 50, just a little bit shy of it. So Chad Kelly comes on. And the Argos trailing now for the first time in this game. It was tough on offenses on both sides, but for Fajardo, after the interception for a touchdown by Benji Franklin, Montreal's offense has responded with drives for a field goal, and then a touchdown to lead this one 13-7.
Back and forth is what we anticipated as you see Chad Kelly's early numbers.
Throwing, intercepted, Darnell Sankey. Second straight Eastern final that Sankey has had a pick off Chad Kelly. And another turnover in this game. The second time the Argos have turned it over.
We talk a lot about the Alouettes moving people around to create disguise, but there's no doubt Darnell Sankey is the middle linebacker on this one. Looks like confusion on the play though. Kelly and Kadeem Carey maybe not on the same page. As you saw the hesitation from Chad Kelly before he throws this football. Looking left, firing it across the middle. Darnell Sankey jumping in front to make a big play.
And Noel Thorpe, the applause for his defense, which did so much last year in the Eastern Finals, forcing 9 turnovers in that game and that big win by Montreal. And there's Charleston Rambo. He takes a big hit from Mark Milton with D'Arcangelo around his feet, but up near a first down for the Alouettes.
And this is a good job by Charleston Rambo to make the first defender, Benji Franklin, miss on the play. There's no one there to block Franklin. Rambo's on his own.
Fajardo stays in. And he turns around, keeps his feet. Little sneaky by Cody Fajardo, who was never down. Looked like he'd had the first down anyway, but managed to pick up a few more yards towards the Argo 35.
Yeah, Fajardo stays alive on the play. Just kind of popped out of nowhere.
Where's Cody? There he is. And a first down, Alouettes. So, in scoring range again. The 4th straight possession now. They look to add more points after falling behind 7-0. They've taken charge here in the second quarter. 13-7, they lead it. Turnover's a big part of this game. 4-man rush, Fajardo. He steps up and he's tripped there by Robbie Smith, who had the 1 sack for the Argos last week against Ottawa, and a big one there to push the Alouettes back to around the 40 of the Argos.
Yeah, and this is a terrific rush by Robbie Smith. We talk about bending the edge here, working against Jamar McGloster, gets underneath the pads and keeps driving through, able to track down Fajardo as he attempted to step up in the pocket. Former Wilfrid Laurier Golden Hawk.
who had 6 sacks in the regular season and one last week at Drew Brown. 2nd and 13 now. Fajardo has time, and no, that one will fall incomplete. We got a 3rd down coming up. Ralph Hawley all over.
It's a big stand for the Toronto Argonauts defense. Following the turnover, with Montreal having grabbed momentum in this ballgame, as you mentioned, those 3 consecutive scoring drives for the Alouettes after the pick 6 by Toronto.
And so Joseph Zima, well, we got Wynton McManus down in the field and hurt. This is the Alouettes who are lining up to try a field goal.
It looked like it might be a cramp as he was grabbing his calf, trying to pull the toes back and stretch it out.
One of their leaders, defensive star, Wynton McManus, getting attention from the Argo staff right on the field.
One of the guys who's come up with some big plays for this team, as we talked about off the top. Late interception last week that helped seal the victory. There you see McManus on his way towards the sideline.
Started his career with the Calgary Stampeders, won a Grey Cup in 2018 with the Stamps for coming over. Since 2022, impressive numbers, and yes, the other intangible, the leadership that he's shown with his team as well.
Yeah, making the move from the weak side linebacker spot that he's played much of his career into the middle for the Argos this season. Seems like
Timer, can you please reset the clock to 5:57?
fitting position for a guy seen as one of the undisputed leaders of the Argo defense.
Jose Maltos is 2 for 2 in this game. His longest this year is 53 yards. Joseph Zima to put it down at 47. And this to make it a 9-point game and make it 4 straight possessions by the Alouettes with points to show for it. If he can make it here. Maltos from Monterrey, Mexico is 3 for 3. The Alouettes down early, but taking charge now with 5.5 minutes to go in the first half. It is 16-7, Montreal leading. 2 stars of that Alouette defense, Marc-Antoine Dequoy and Tyrese Beverette embracing the chance to go up against Chad Kelly again. Let's get down to Matthew Shinetti.
Yeah, and I asked both those players, Rod, what it was like last year to get in Chad Kelly's head with those 4 interceptions. First, they said that not one player can beat them. Then they emphasized Chad Kelly's talent. But then Dequoy and Beverette said they both remember last year. In particular, Beverette said on that first pick 6 that Dequoy had, he watched Kelly walk to the sidelines as Dequoy was walking into the end zone. And then Beverette smirked at me and said, we know we got to him last year. We know we rattled him. 2 picks so far today for Kelly. It seems they might be doing it again, Rod.
Well, Matthew, yeah, we remember, of course, the Dequoy interception early last year, but then 3 straight possessions by the Argos. Kelly was picked off in the 3rd quarter last year.
Yeah, just clearly rattled in that ball game, couldn't settle down. I know one of the discussions has been about the presence or lack thereof a year ago of his quarterback coach, Mike Miller, who is the guy they kind of rely on to keep Chad Kelly on an even keel on the sidelines. He is over there today.
Got a 2nd and short after a good pickup by Kadeem Carey, and they do get the first down as Carey gets that rush again. The Argos, just the 2nd time they've converted on 2nd down. Yes, most defensive stops this season. He leads the way and nominated as the top defensive player in the CFL from the East up against Saskatchewan's Roland Milligan.
One of the most fascinating award races, I think, in years is the battle between those 2 guys.
Well, Tyrese Beverette asked about the season he's had and being nominated for most outstanding defensive player.
I embrace it. I mean, like I just said before, I don't get too high, don't get too low. I just stay myself. I mean, like I said, I hold myself to a certain standard, and no matter what level I played on in my life, that's what I always held myself to, and them type of things I expect. A lot of people this year think this is a great year, but I'm excited because I still feel like I got a lot more in the tank.
Really found a home in Montreal, starting his career with Hamilton as a special teamer. 2nd and 7, midfield. Chad Kelly has time. He checks it down for Kadeem Carey and lost yardage on that. Back to the original line of scrimmage with Sankey right on it. And a 3rd down coming up as the Argo offense stalls again.
You know, the offense stalls, goes off the field. I'm actually good with the decision by Chad Kelly here, not getting himself in trouble trying to force a ball downfield, but just checking it down, take what's there, give John Haggerty a chance to get out and punt, maybe let your punt unit get down and pin them deep. But Chad Kelly, if you remember last year, just kept trying to force the ball and make plays that weren't there.
I got to hit that, though.
That decision to me is a positive sign for the Argo quarterback.
Another great punt by Haggerty. James Letcher, though, he finds some room, and he is knocked out by Teadrick Hansen at around the 20. Emotions running high between these two teams. They have a history. This is the 3rd straight year that the Alouettes and the Argonauts have met in the Eastern Final. You know what fires them up? Not just the players, the coaches too. Get an Alouette lead here. Under 3 minutes to go until halftime in Montreal.
The boys all prepared for halftime. We've got some breakdown of Montreal's defense. Man, it's hard to concentrate with horns.
I can't hear the studio show for all those bloody air horns.
Now you know what it's like, Rod.
Could you hear Kane at all? How are we supposed to take our cue? We're back in action here now. Oh, Julian Grant, the intended receiver, couldn't hang on that hitch screen. Julian Grant with a touchdown earlier in the corner that has allowed the Alouettes to take charge of this game.
Alouettes with a couple of drops in this one. Looked like they had shaken that, as you see what they've done in their last 4 possessions.
Even, ready?
All scoring drives to account for their 16 points.
But starting this time on their 18. And a 2nd down now. It's caught. And it's Tyler Sneed. Big part of the Alouettes' drive to the Grey Cup. And in the big game itself. Little receiver out of East Carolina, and what a difference he made for Montreal last year. Was injured through much of this season.
And you're going to see Sneed working out of the slot. The boundary side, drives his defender deep. Works back to the football to secure that one in front of the halfback in coverage, Mark Milton.
Had a touchdown in the East Final in the 2nd half a year ago against Toronto. And on that 1st down carry, Walter Fletcher, another good pickup, 7 more yards for Fletcher. The exclusive running back for Montreal this season, their number 1 running back, I should say, after William Stanback left and signed with BC.
We talked earlier in the short passing game about the importance of receivers blocking. Good effort there by Sneed, with the smallest guys on the field coming down into the box to get a piece of the defensive end to Rimawada.
Stands at 5'7", but plays a big game and not afraid at all to get in the action and the hitting. Fajardo over the middle, and Rambo couldn't bring it down. Deshaun Amos was right there with him. So a couple of near misses for Charleston Rambo in his 1st year with Montreal. And a 3rd and 3 coming up.
Delicate coming from the right side of your screen. Beats the tight end, Jacob Mason, on the blitz, supplying the pressure there. You see the good coverage by Deshaun Amos coming over the top to get a piece of that football. A couple big plays for him in this ball game. Had a fumble recovery in the 1st quarter.
9-point Montreal lead, 2-possession game late here in the first half. The Argos looking for a chance to get closer before halftime. Janarian Grant picks it up. He's got a big return going. Janarian Grant down the right side, and he'll take it in for the touchdown. The 5th return touchdown as an Argonaut for Janarian Grant, and what a time to get it.
You can see from the moment Janarian Grant picked up the football that the Alouette cover team was outflanked to that bench sideline. With the speed of Janarian Grant, his blockers did a great job getting on the Alouette cover team. Massive play for Janarian Grant. We've had games between these teams decided with the teams getting defensive touchdowns and special teams touchdowns coming out on top. The Argos have checked both those boxes already today.
The pick 6 by Franklin, the return by Janarian Grant, who had 4 return touchdowns in the regular season. The first was a kickoff return of 103 yards right here at Molson Stadium in Week 6 in the Argos' victory over the Alouettes. What a spot for this one in the playoffs for Janarian Grant, who had 8 touchdown returns as a member of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Yeah, and you'll see with the ball on the ground, watch the job. Brian Haralamana in particular right here does a terrific job as Grant is picking up the ball of getting in position, recognizing that Grant's trying to get to the right. Haralamana, backup linebacker, terrific special teams player, another former Montreal Canadien that spent some time with the Alouettes. Springs the speedy Janarian Grant. Pulls the Argos within 2. Critical touchdown. You see Chad Kelly enjoying that one from the sidelines. Now Montreal in this ballgame, they had taken a 9-point lead, which for me is kind of a critical number. When you look at Montreal during the season, any game in which they had taken a 2-possession lead, turned it into a 2-score ball game at any point, Montreal is 8-1 in those games. To me, Toronto did not want to go into the room at halftime. Down by 9. Huge play by Janarian Grant before the half.
Look at the fewest games per kick return and touchdowns in the history of the Canadian Football League. At a rate of under 5 games, getting a touchdown at 4.8. Remarkable. Bashar Livingston, great returner for the Argos, is next in that department. But Grant, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers knew it so well. What a difference he could make. And he does get another playoff return for a touchdown 2 years ago, did for Winnipeg, both in the West Final against BC, and he did it again in the Grey Cup against the Toronto Argonauts. To start the 4th quarter and a punt return touchdown. So they're within 2 points. That kickoff by Lira Mairalahu. And the tackle there by Teodric Hansen on James Letcher. Speaking of game breakers, we've seen Letcher do it the last time these two teams played. It was Letcher who had a return for a touchdown.
Yeah, often, as I said, deciding factor in games between these two teams. When you look at it, East Final a year ago, Montreal gets 2 pick sixes and a kickoff return touchdown from James Letcher in that East Final. I know there was a flashback in the regular season game this year, little PTSD for the Toronto Argonauts special teams, but 3 non-offensive touchdowns in a game that they won in that Eastern Final by 21 points. Week 6 this year, Toronto gets a pick 6 and a kick return touchdown from Janarian Grant in a game that they win.
Defense, turnovers, special teams, so critical. Wynn McManus cramping up earlier, and then on the tackle there at Tyler Sneed. And 1:18 on the clock, and saw that Kate coming up with Maddie and Milt and Ches, and mentioning the last time, the Eastern Final. There have been playoff games here over the years. There hasn't been an Eastern Final in this stadium since 2000. That was Winnipeg against Montreal. A game that Milt Stiegel and Davis Sanchez might remember. Chesy, I think, has fonder memories of it. That was the last time they had an East Final here. Tyler Sneed again, midfield. 59 seconds, lots of time for the Alouettes. The lead is down to 2, but they may have an opportunity to add to it again here.
Yeah, an important drive for Montreal now, not just about the response with Toronto having momentum, but remember, the Alouettes took the ball when they won the coin toss. Toronto's going to get the ball to start the second half, so Montreal would love to get points here rather than giving the Argos a chance to score back-to-back.
Clock ticking at 50 seconds. Cody Fajardo throwing. Oh, close for Sneed. Reaching out. Got the fingertips on it, but couldn't bring it down. 46 seconds to go, and a 2nd and 10 coming up.
Yeah, Sneed towards the top of your screen, just working that dig route in front of the halfback. Milton lays out just off the fingertips.
The ball is on the Toronto 50-yard line in the Argo zone, and the Alouettes with a 2nd down and 10. Blitz coming. Fajardo gets rid of it and completes it. It's Cole Speaker. Ball comes out. Argos have it. Another turnover. And another fumble by Montreal when they were in scoring position. It has been costly for the Alouettes. Turnovers not only led to Argo points, they've taken points off the board for Montreal.
Yeah, absolutely. You look at the Najee Murray fumble after the interception, Walter Fletcher fumble at the end of a big run, and now Cole Speaker after this completion, losing the ball, Toronto getting it. Considering Montreal kicker Jose Maltos been over 91% on the season. You're looking at probably 9 points off the board on turnovers for Montreal. Not to mention a pick 6 off Fletcher's hands, scored by Benji Franklin.
34 seconds left in the half. Chad Kelly running around, picks up a block, and he just takes off out of bounds. Jordan Dominic chasing him out to 27 seconds to go. McManus knows all about turnovers, and turnovers have been a story in the East Final, maybe not the same extent as it was a year ago when it was all Montreal. But that is an emerging theme here as the Alouettes have turned it over 4 times compared to Toronto's twice. Trying to get in range for Lirim Hajrullahu. That is caught. Mackay Pope. Tyrese Beverett waiting a moment to touch him. They pick up a 1st down, 22 seconds on the clock.
Lirim Hajrullahu. Well, you see the numbers, career long of 56. They need to get to the Montreal 49-yard line to match that attempt.
Please reset the game clock to 22 seconds. 22 seconds.
There's Hajrullahu. We got a franchise record 8 field goals the last time these two teams met. Back in week 17, 6 weeks ago.
Clock to 24 seconds. 24.
Tom Valesi asking for a few more seconds to be put on the clock. So 24 now. Argos at their 46. Hajrullahu season high is 51 yards. Kelly with time. Bobbles up, nearly picked off on the deflection, intended for Tavares Daniels, with Beverett coming back with a shot at it.
Oh, very nearly. The Alouette ball here as the Argos being aggressive, trying to get into scoring range, be it a field goal or a shot at the end zone.
15 seconds. Fighting all that noise here at Molson Stadium. Kelly with time again, takes a deep shot, and it's caught by DeMonte Coxie, who couldn't play last week, got injured in the final regular season game. It was a game time decision. They figured he was healthy enough to play, and he's just made a catch that's put them at the very least in field goal range.
Coxey, the outside receiver on this one, Mackay Polk, has got the out route in front of him, which is going to take away inside help. And that deep ball, Coxey, one of the best contested ball receivers in the league.
Trying for the end zone. Caught. Touchdown.
Massive.
Unbelievable. Back-to-back plays to Coxey. And the Argos in the final play of the first half have retaken the lead. DeMonte Coxey. Game time decision. Halftime leader.
DeMonte Coxey has established himself over the last couple of seasons as one of the best receivers in the Canadian Football League in traffic. And he demonstrates it twice on this critical scoring drive for the Toronto Argonauts. Unreal catch in the corner for a touchdown. Is it going to stand as a challenge is coming?
That was the question. He clearly caught the ball. Did he land in bounds? Looked like he did, but there could be a challenge here for pass interference. Offensive from the Alouettes. All the scoring plays are reviewed automatically.
Again, Coxey lined up out wide on that one.
During the play, we had roughing the passer, Montreal number 24. That penalty be applied in the third quarter. Montreal is also challenging that there was offensive pass interference on the play. We'll review the play.
There's Coxey down the sidelines. Used the left hand a little bit to shield the defender. Lorenzo Burns, watch the left hand as the ball is coming. Now, to me, that's just hand fighting between the two. He didn't appear to really shove off.
So being challenged for offensive pass interference, and here there was a penalty against the Alouettes that'll be tacked on with the kickoff. But here's the command center's result on the challenge.
After review by the command center, the ruling on the field stands. Montreal will be charged a timeout.
To DeMonte Coxey, not even targeted in the first half until the final minute. The final couple of plays and big catches by Coxey. Injured and couldn't play in the East semifinal last week. And Liram Hiralau with the point after. And suddenly, stunningly, for the Alouettes, who had taken control of this game, has seen Toronto come back and lead it by 5 heading to the dressing room.
Touchdowns on offense, defense, and special teams in the first half of this ball game for the Toronto Argonauts. As they were down 2 possessions, down 9. It was Janarian Grant sparking the comeback down the sidelines with a big return. Janarian Grant, man of the moment, standing by with our Matthew Shinetti.
Janarian, I know your teammates have been asking for a return like that all week. How sweet was that?
It was very sweet. You know, I just thank God. You know, one play at a time. That's what we got to do. We got to come out here and play Argos football.
And how does this team keep stacking explosive plays off of your return, those 2 huge grabs from DeMonte Coxey?
We just got to stay level. Never get too high, never get too low. Just stay right in the middle, and after that, we're going to climb. Everything going to right for itself.
Thanks for this.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Well, Kate, in a matter of seconds, this game just flipped on its head. Back to you.
Halftime in Montreal, and your guess is as good as mine how this next 30 minutes is going to go. Big momentum swings, the Argonauts leading it by 5 points. And the Montreal touchdown scored by Keon Julian Grant, standing by with Matthew Shinetti.
Keon, what was the overall kind of feeling in the locker room, especially knowing that lead just was raced almost instantaneously?
We know it's on us. We just got to take care of the ball.
In terms of your contribution, how good does it feel knowing that last year you couldn't really contribute at this time of the year, and knowing that you've played a big part so far?
It just feels great to be playing with my brothers again. That's all I really can say.
Fair enough. Thanks for this.
Thank you. Take care.
Short and sweet, still a lot of football to play as the sun starting to set and the lights coming on here at Molson Stadium. But Dwayne Ford, you talked about Montreal and how good they've been when they get a 2-score lead. They were, after the Julian Grant touchdown, up by 9, but didn't really see this coming with explosive plays for the Argos coming back.
Yeah, a big part of it being turnovers supersede everything statistically, right? We've seen it forever in the game of football, and Montreal absolutely shot themselves in the foot and gave Toronto opportunities to overcome that 9-point deficit in the first half of this ball game.
Well, among the many players to have the spotlight clearly on them, of course, Argo quarterback Chad Kelly, who had a rough beginning throwing an interception. He was picked off twice in that first half, but then look at the way it ended. The final 2 plays, passes to DeMonte Coxey, the second one going for a touchdown to send them with the lead into the dressing room.
Yeah, big finish there for the Argos. And again, you know, I love this turnaround to start the third quarter when you've got a team that is able to score at the end of the first half, knowing they get the first possession of the second half.
The Alouettes had to kick off 15 yards further back because of a penalty on that final play of the first half. So it's Janarian Grant who had that big return touchdown and gives the Argos and Chad Kelly good place to go to work with. But I was talking about the mixed bag of Chad Kelly in that first half.
Yeah, a little rocky at times under pressure on the blitz, tries to force a deep ball that results in the Najee Murray interception. Argos got off the hook on that one as Murray fumbled at the end of it. You saw the Sankey interception as well, but Kelly recovering, which he never really did in the East Final last year with a couple of deep balls there to Coxey to finish the half.
Second half begins. Kelly is throwing, and it goes incomplete. Closest receiver is Kadeem Carey. So this is a different kind of game. We wondered how he'd respond in this one against the Alouettes compared to the Eastern Final last year. Not great numbers, but certainly encouraging for him and Toronto's offense the way that first half came to an end.
Yeah, and it's big. Again, last year in the Eastern Final, each mistake, each piece of adversity led to more mistakes for Chad Kelly. We'll see if he's able to continue to overcome here.
Throwing again and knocked away, nearly picked off again by Darnell Sankey. And an interception in the first half, but as it stands, a pass knockdown and a 3rd and 10 coming up 2 and out for the Argos.
Looked like Isaac Adeyemi-Berglund coming from the left side of the screen, supplies the pressure, forces Kelly to hurry the throw. Darnell Sankey jumping into the passing lane there.
Sankey came to the Alouettes halfway through last season and was a big leader on that defense, the team that went on to win the Grey Cup. Another brilliant punt by John Haggerty, but a great return by Letcher into the circumstances to pick up the yardage he did when he was so close to the sideline. Cody Fajardo, and a look at his first half. Also mixed reviews, Dwayne.
Yeah, well, Cody Fajardo needed a little help from his friends as you see that one off the fingertips of Walter Fletcher into the waiting arms of Benji Franklin for the pick 6. But able to get that short passing game going a little bit, distributing it to different receivers, and of course that touchdown connection to Keon Julian Grant.
And yes, in fairness to Fajardo on that pick 6 into Fletcher's hands, looked like a completed pass. He was 12 for 22 for 120 yards, the touchdown and the pick from the 33 now in the 1st and 10. And trying to run the football, Walter Fletcher. Jim Barker talk about it, impressed with how much inside running Fletcher was able to do. Ran for 50 yards in that first half.
Yeah, nothing doing on that one though as Isaac D'Arcangelo stepped up on the line of scrimmage. Slicing down from that left side to make a play.
Just a yard, a little bit less. 2nd and long now coming up here for the Alouettes. The Eastern Final. Winner goes to the Grey Cup next week in Vancouver. So lots of football to be played. Passing, it's caught, and it's a first down. Keon Julian Grant embracing playoff time after not being able to a year ago. Has a touchdown and has a first down there and another 12-yard gain.
Second round pick for Montreal back in 2019. Keon Julian Grant really established himself in the early part of last season. as a significant part of this Montreal offense. Battled injuries in the second half last year and at times this season. But good to have him back in this playoff run.
From the Montreal 45, quick hitter to Julian Grant again. Set up a second and short. Up across the 50, 7 more yards for Julian Grant and the Alouettes.
And again, even though they're throwing the football on first down, 2nd and 7 puts them in a favorable position.
Left, W fly 60, R Ottawa, X drive, S wide, even, ready?
Creating some options offensively on 2nd down here for Cody Fajardo in the offense.
Second and 3, throwing again, off to the left. It is caught. It's Cole Speaker, the Alouettes' leading receiver in 2024, who was their leader in all 3 games in the regular season against the Argos, has a first down and a gain of 16.
Yeah, Cole Speaker working out on that left side, just an out route. Tunde Adeleke playing inside leverage, allowing Speaker to get that separation towards the sideline.
From the Toronto 42 now. Flushed out. They've got him. Taken down. Jake Serezna, one of the sack leaders in the CFL, and picks up a sack there. I'm talking about Cole Speaker before, and a sample of what he did. His second full season arrived late in 2022, and maybe an understated star in this Alouette team, Dwayne.
Yeah, exactly. A guy who just quietly, as many of his teammates say, just does all the right things. Cole Speaker is the guy that gets moved around. If there's an injury in the receiving corps, he's a guy who understands all 5 positions and can contribute wherever you put him.
Fajardo under pressure, gets rid of it, nearly intercepted. Metier coming in on Austin Mack and slams the ball to the turf, thinking he should have had yet another turnover. As it stands, 3rd and long coming up.
Another good defensive play there from Metier, originally drafted by the Calgary Stampeders in the 3rd round, number 25 overall pick back in 2018. One of so many with Calgary ties in this Argonauts team.
Joseph Zima and his side of midfield. Just try to pin the Argos deep. Lendover ran, beautiful rule. What a beautiful punt. Inside the 5. Janarian Grant, no chance at all on that one. Kelly back on. They're starting deep in their own zone.
There you see Montreal halfback Wesley Sutton. He's one of the poster boys for being used in different ways in this defense. Here you see him supplying the blitz and the hit on Chad Kelly that led to the Najee Murray interception. A little later, here he is on the left side of your screen blitzing because he's the contained guy contributing in that blitz. They're able to get to Chad Kelly on the sack. But Toronto recognizing Sutton doing that in the isolation that leaves corner Lorenzo Burns in without his halfback back there. They make a big play off that blitz late in the first half.
Throwing in first down. Kelly's flushed out. Does get rid of it down the right. It's caught brilliantly by Janarian Grant. Seldom used as a receiver, has already made a big play on special teams, and that one, a 47-yard pickup, has bought the Argos a lot of space.
Yeah, Grant takes off down the sideline as he sees Kelly rolling his way. And Kelly drops it in there perfectly on the run. Deontay Ruffin in pursuit.
A perfect pass by Chad Kelly, rolling out of the pocket, getting it up to the Argo 50 on one play. Hitting long passes again, a short one there to Mackay Pope. And Sankey wrestles him down, but another good pickup for the Argos. Down to the Alouette 45 and another Toronto first down. They started inside their 5, and a couple of plays later, they're in Montreal territory.
Yeah, that one big play to give them the breathing room that you mentioned to Janarian Grant goes a long way. Janarian Grant hadn't even been targeted as a receiver since September 7th. We've seen him with 3 touches on offense in this ballgame, not to mention the huge special teams return for a touchdown.
Rolling to the right again on the 1st and 10. It's off to Polk. It just goes out of bounds, shy of another first down, pushed out by Kabion Ento. Makai Polk, one of the great first-year stories in the Canadian Football League this year, leading the Argos in receiving yards.
Toronto getting Chad Kelly on the move a little bit. In that pocket.
Short yardage. And push back. On that 2nd down and 1.
First down, right?
See if Kelly was able to gain any ground here. Nothing doing on that one.
Still a full yard shy. Remember, again, a year ago, but a couple of times in the first half, they were stuffed in this part of the turnover onslaught by the Alouettes, and that was after they were driving down and scoring position when Kelly got stopped on 3rd down.
Well, Argos scrambling a little bit now.
Kelly tries again. Gets a little bit more of a forward push. They say no. A flag comes out.
He's offside.
Yeah, one was early, which you suspect you heard talk of offside down there. But Argos were
He's offside.
late getting that play off.
He's offside.
Because they had their punt team halfway on the field. The offense was waving them back.
Offside. Defense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Well, no matter, as announced by Tom Balessi, it goes against Montreal, so automatically a first down.
You see, looked like Derek Wigan in the middle of that defense, who claimed a couple of extra inches.
61 ping. Z swivel backside set. On center, ready?
The Argonauts had trailed by as many as 9. They got a punt return touchdown late in the first half, and in the final 2 plays, Kelly to Coxie, another touchdown to take the lead to the dressing room. They're up by 5 and a 1st and 10 at the Montreal 31. It is caught. Coxie again. His 3rd catch of this Eastern final after the memorable 2 to end the first half, and another first down with 11 more yards to Monte Coxie.
And yet, anticipate over on that side. You can see how far off the corner Lorenzo Burns was playing on DeMonte Coxie on that play. Knowing what Coxie did, those plays you mentioned at the end of the first half, Rod. So this time, Argos adjust by hitting him underneath, take advantage of the cushion he's being given.
Right down to the Alouette 20 now, and another first down. Kelly, another deep ball, end zone, and it's for Polk. And better position there for Wesley Sutton to break that play up.
Yeah, Wesley Sutton has been all over the field defensively for the Montreal Alouettes. We showed some of the chaos he created on the blitz. This is his 2nd knockdown, providing great coverage from his halfback spot. A couple of big pass breakups for Wesley Sutton.
The Argos have scored 3 touchdowns in this game on offense, on defense, and on special teams. Looking for a 4th. It's a 2nd and 10. Flags come out with the snap of the ball.
And you wonder if the crowd noise impacted the Argos' ability to get in sync on that one.
It's on me. We're good. We're good. We're good.
Procedure. Toronto number 59. 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
A tough place with all the noise generated here at McGill on opposing offenses. Procedure call on the right tackle, Dejon Allen. 2nd and 15 now at the Montreal 25. Three-man rush with one dropping back. Kelly has time, nearly runs out of it as Dominic almost gets him, and he still keeps his feet. Rolling around and looking for receiver, can't find one, takes off. Down to the 15, and no further there as Beverett wrestles him down, still well shy of a first down.
Nonetheless, making a positive play out of something that never should have been. You see Dominic gets a hand on him, and Amy Berglund has a couple of shots there. Kelly stays alive, but probably exhausted himself by that point. Never mind the guys chasing him.
3rd and 4, and they're going for it. They lead by 5, and instead of just making it 8 with Hairolahu, they're going for it.
Argos are somewhat notorious. 3rd and less than 5, trying to draw the opponent offside.
We actually did see this. And yeah, Hairolahu, I think, can get ready to come in here. They did try this on the Alouettes a few times.
Count violation. Toronto number 12. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
And once again, Montreal's not biting.
Timer, please reset the clock to 5:53.
So Liram Hairolahu played collegiately at Western, started his CFL career in Winnipeg, went to the Argos where he won a Grey Cup 7 years ago, went to Hamilton, and then went to the NFL for 5 years. Coming back his last time playing Montreal, he was busy with field goals. Set a franchise record. He was 8 for 8. This is first field goal try of this game from 26 yards away. 3 more on the board, another field goal for Hairolahu, and an 8-point difference now. Argos, they started deep in their own zone, driving down for 3. What a big day for football in Canada, not just in the CFL, but in the college game as well, Dwayne.
Yeah, absolutely. Laval has collected the win in the Dunsmore Cup over Montreal. Laurier beat Western. I'll get over it. Regina, a couple of big upsets in the playoffs for them. Beat Saskatchewan. Bishop's perfect season on the line. I understand they're down by 3 late in that ball game against St. Mary's.
Alouettes down by 8. Cody Fajardo, and he gets it off to Sean Thomas Erlington. And they make something out of nothing here. Another big pickup by Thomas Erlington inside the Argos zone, inside the 50, a 23-yard gain when Fajardo was just looking to get rid of the ball.
Sean Thomas Erlington doing his part. Usually as a quarterback, you're throwing the ball to people. It really felt like Cody Fajardo threw this one at Sean Thomas Erlington, just getting it out of his hands as he was on his way down. But a nice ad-lib by the Montreal quarterback. Great reaction by his running back.
Right down to the Toronto 47. The Argos had opened up their lead on a Hairolahu field goal. They're up by 8. Here comes Montreal now. Taking the handoff, completing the pass. Cole Speaker has space. Right through it. Adeleke takes him down, but Speaker, another big pickup. Montreal close to the Toronto 20.
Yeah, you see Cody Fajardo just having a conversation behind the play with referee Tom Valesi as Cody got absolutely blasted on this play. Looked like he might have felt that was a little bit late. It wasn't a headshot. Cole Speaker, as he has done all season for the Montreal Alouettes, making a big play there.
20 more yards down to the 23 Argonauts. Another 1st and 10. Quick drive put together here by the Owls. Mark Milton nearly got Fajardo, but he gets away. Rolls out, and he gets tripped up just at the 20-yard line. Just tripped himself there and went down, but does get a good pickup. Making something out of that for 6 more yards and a 2nd and 4.
Yeah, you can see Mark Milton coming from his halfback spot, timing it up on the blitz off the end. Watch the great spin out escape by Cody Fajardo. Reverse pivot out of there. And from dead in the backfield to 2nd and 4. He'll take it. Good play by Fajardo.
Set up a 2nd and 4 at the 17. Alouettes trailing by 8. Fajardo escapes the pocket, loses the ball. It's picked up by Wynton McManus. Another fumble by the Alouettes.
Not just another fumble in field goal range. Points off the board.
It's happened time again to Montreal in this Eastern final. On the 2nd and 4, Fajardo coughs it up, and McManus and the Argos have it.
Well, Jake Serezna has been a monster for the Toronto Argonauts all season. Comes up with another big play here, fights off the block. Get a hand on that football as he brings down the Alouette quarterback, and who else with the recovery but Wynton McManus.
And the Argo defense doing a number on Fajardo overall this game. They've hurried him 12 times, hit him 12 times, sacked him twice. He was escaping that time, but coughed up the ball. So points off the board, and here comes Kadeem Carey. Big run, turning it back. Carey, he's still going. Gets a block from Coxie, and Dominic finally pushes him out. Well inside the Alouette zone. So Toronto's offense responds again with a big play, this time on the ground.
Great run by Kadeem Carey. Nice work by the offensive line. Right guard Anthony Van Daal washing things down to his left. Kadeem Carey cuts it behind him for a big, big run into Alouette territory.
A gain of 49 yards. Kadeem Carey now has 8 carries for 84 on the day. To the Montreal 34. Argos in business again suddenly. Looking to add to the 8-point lead. And it's off to Mackay Polk. Tries to get away from Cavianento. He gets it down closer to the 25 and close to another Argo first down.
Mackay Polk with the catch. This time it's DeMonte Coxie getting out front to supply the block. Walks on to Ento just long enough to allow Polk to sneak by.
Ends up going down 3 yards shy. A 2nd and 3 at the Montreal 27. Last 2 possessions especially, the Argos able to respond quickly and move the ball down the field.
Go!
Dan Adebaboye is the ball carrier's first carry in this game. Part of the 3-headed rushing monster the Argos used in the regular season, and he has enough for a first down.
Yeah, Adebaboye fighting through some arm tackles there. You wonder a little bit about the fatigue level of this Montreal defense. Toronto kind of wedging it up the middle, bringing the receivers in to the box to help with that blocking scheme.
The Argos already have 14 points off turnovers, and as you mentioned, Dwayne, it's about the 4 times that Montreal's turned it over in the Toronto zone where they've missed a chance to pick up points. Very costly. Blitz coming. Kelly gets it away. End zone, no. A little far for Dejon Brissett. Still without a catch in this game, and just a few feet shy of another Argonaut touchdown.
Yeah, just on the turnovers, in addition to the points Toronto has actually scored off the turnovers. You're talking about minimum of 4 field goals, right? Minimum of 12 points off the board for Montreal. As Kelly just misses putting up another 6 or 7 off turnover there.
2nd and 10. Already in field goal range and looking for more. Kelly, 3-man rush. He steps up. He takes off. Gets down close, takes a hit. Jeffrey Cantaracu and Isaac Eniemi Berglund right there as Kelly is hobbled. He gets up favoring what appears to be his right
That's
shin.
not good.
And Kelly is hurt and he is down. Taking that hit right near a first down, helmet off. And a serious concern here for Kelly and the Toronto Argonauts, favoring that right leg.
Ryan Dinwiddie out to check on his quarterback along with the medical staff. Nick Arbuckle warming on the sideline.
Kelly taking off taking the hit, and that's how the play comes to an end. But immediately, as he tried to get up, favoring the right leg, and remains on the field. We'll take a break at Molson Stadium in Montreal. Back in Montreal, Argo players on the field. They've taken knees, many of them. Chad Kelly is still down, getting attention to his right leg. And what looked like a severe injury. I mean, can't say for sure, obviously, but the way he did try to get up and saw movement in the leg. And Nick Arbuckle is taking the warm-ups. Arbuckle, who had one start this season and played a lot in Edmonton in the final game of the regular season. But Cameron Dukes had most of the starts for the Argos while Kelly was out, suspended for the first half of the season. But on the depth chart, they had listed Nick Arbuckle as the number 2 QB.
Yeah, it seems early in the season Cameron Dukes was the guy they were looking to develop. The young guy, Nick Arbuckle, was kind of the security blanket, the insurance policy, as a veteran guy who knew Ryan Dinwiddie's system, had been with Dinwiddie in Calgary. Arbuckle seems to have moved ahead on the depth chart when you consider he was the guy that played late in the season, as you mentioned, in Edmonton. What bodes well for the Toronto Argonauts, maybe gives them a little bit of solace in this situation. Chad Kelly, obviously a difficult guy to replace, the reigning MOP. Nick Arbuckle played very well when he was in a couple of weeks ago for them.
Let's get more now from Matthew Shinetti. Matthew.
Well, Rod, before the game, and you never want to predict these things, but you have to be ready for them. I asked Ryan Dinwiddie who would go in if this situation presented itself. He said, listen, if it has to come down to running the ball, it'll be Cameron Dukes. But if it's about throwing the ball and trying to get the ball downfield, we'll go with Nick Arbuckle. I was watching both quarterbacks warm up. It looks like Nick Arbuckle's going in, guys.
And this comes, mentioned, all very concerned, of course, about their quarterback, Chad Kelly. Comes at a time when they're leading by 8 and they're threatening to make it a 2-possession game. And as Matthew talked about, don't know what impact that has on the decision for who goes in with Kelly coming off. But they're in position to be protecting a lead, and the entire team now, just about every Argo, has left the field to go into the middle to see Chad Kelly with a stretcher out.
It's been said so many times over the course of this season, the Toronto Argonauts are a different team with Chad Kelly at quarterback. The things that they're able to do offensively expand. But this is a team that has demonstrated, even in recent weeks, that they can beat you in some different ways, not just relying on the quarterback. I think Kelly's right leg got landed on just at the end of the tackle here.
Right as Adiemi Berglund landed in the process of
center of his gravity. Landing on the lower leg of the Argo quarterback.
Nick Arbuckle goes back with Ryan Dinwiddie when Dinwiddie was the quarterback's coach in Calgary under Dave Dickinson. He was a backup to Bo Levi Mitchell. He made 7 starts when Mitchell was hurt in 2019. Had a record of 4-3. From there, he moved on to Ottawa. Didn't play his first go-around with the Red Blacks and ended up signing with Toronto in 2021. And ironically, was ultimately traded late in that season in 21 for the rights to Chad Kelly. And Arbuckle later left Edmonton, went back to Ottawa.
A guy who's
Toronto again.
Yeah, a guy who's been given some opportunity in his career to be the starter, signed in situations where he was expected to be the starting quarterback. Hasn't really been able to run with those opportunities, but I think really embracing, settling into the role of veteran backup, part of which is stepping in and providing some stability in situations just like this.
Late third quarter, the Argos have lost their starting quarterback, Chad Kelly. They do have a lead and a chance to put more points on the board, but it's in the hands of Nick Arbuckle now.
Arbuckle on briefly last week against Ottawa when Kelly was pulled from the game by the injury spotter.
It is a 3rd and 1. The Montreal 13. And they're trying again to draw them off. And it's not going to work again. Alouettes don't bite.
Time count violation. Toronto number 4. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
That Kelly run had gotten them close, but just shy of a 1st down. They tried to get the offside penalty, but the field goal unit to come on, and an important 3 late here in the 3rd quarter to put the Argos up by 2 scores. Five-yard field goal try. Pyrelau is 2 for 2. The Argos lead's improved to 11 points at 27-16. But bittersweet right now for Ryan Dinwiddie. The concern, of course, about the health of his starting quarterback, Chad Kelly. And now it's about hanging on and doing what they can to advance to the Grey Cup next week in Vancouver.
There you see quarterbacks coach Mike Miller going through things with Arbuckle and Cameron Dukes on the left. It's up to them now.
Kelly suspended for the first half of the season. In those 9 games, the Argos went 5-4, mostly with Dukes at quarterback. Alouette football, Walter Fletcher. And good yards after the catch. That's his calling card as he picks up another 1st down. Close to midfield for the Alouettes. Now down 11 points after 3. The defending champions head into the final quarter at home with some work to do. In a back and forth game of momentum swings. Toronto has it. Montreal needs more.
Don't move your legs. Hang in there, brother. I love you, Chad. You know how to fight. Let's keep fighting, guys, okay? Let's go. Hey, let's fight, guys, okay?
Very emotional head coach of the Argos, Ryan Dinwiddie, just moments ago with his quarterback, Chad Kelly, down with a right leg injury. The numbers through 3 quarters. Yes, Dinwiddie's Argos do have the lead. 15 minutes to go and a shot at going to the Grey Cup. But this game really took an emotional turn, especially, of course, for Toronto with that injury to Kelly.
Yeah, it certainly did. It changes, obviously, the mindset a little bit. Changes the playbook for the Toronto Argonauts as well. So, you know, we've talked at times this season about the serious injuries, the psychological impact they can have within a game, and overcoming that for both teams, but obviously especially the Toronto Argonauts in this instance.
First play of the 4th quarter, Cody Fajardo in the throw, incomplete. The 2nd and 10 is coming up, and you see Nick Arbuckle warming up.
Ready?
And the Alouettes, at one point, led this game by 9 in the first half before the Argos stormed back with some late touchdowns. 2nd down and 10. That is caught. Open receiver, Keon Julian Grant, who has clearly been the Alouettes' best receiver in this Eastern Final. And another 1st down to the Argo 35 and a pickup of 22.
Julian Grant starts off as the wide man. That little trip stack out wide. Driving coverage off, sits it down. Nice break. Good throw from Cody Fajardo. An opportunity now for Montreal to catch the Argos. Something of a down moment.
Quickly again. And Sneed going up for it. Got a hand on it with Mark Milton there. Falls incomplete. 2nd down.
A big 2nd and 10 situation here for the Montreal Alouettes. See what Toronto gives them up front.
In second down conversions, Montreal is 10 for 19. Big one here, a 2nd and 10 at the Argo 35. Certainly in the Maltos field goal range, but looking for more. It's caught. First down, right back to Sneed. Tyler Sneed catches it and gets a little bit closer as the Sticks will move at a gain of 12.
A clutch conversion there for the Montreal Alouettes. Cody Fajardo talked to us yesterday about the confidence that comes with having won the big game. I think it serves him well in a moment like that.
Down to the 23, 1st and 10, Alouettes. Taking the handoff, Fajardo takes off. Not shy and running with the football. We've seen that many times as he quickly fakes it, calls his number, and gains 8 more yards, Montreal.
Yeah, nice execution, called run there as he's got Fletcher going the other way. You see him fake the handoff to his running back. Coming to the offensive right side. Fajardo holds on as Robbie Smith crashes down to the inside. Recognizes that gives him a chance to sneak around the end.
Fajardo has 7 carries for 43 yards. Fletcher's run for 64. 2nd and 2. Toronto 15. Faking. End zone! Touchdown, Alouettes! Austin Mack, as they welcome him back to the playoffs. A clutch performer a year ago for Montreal, and a clutch touchdown there for Fajardo and the Alouettes.
Yeah, Austin Mack with his first touchdown since returning from a National Football League tryout. Left side of your screen, working towards the post.
Snap, W. Robin return, Z Frisco. On, ready? Snap.
With it being a 5-point lead, the Alouettes will try to reduce it to 3. They're going for 2 here after that Austin Mack touchdown. Can't get rid of it. And Fajardo is sacked. So it remains a 5-point Argo lead. But momentum has clearly swung again to the home side. Alouettes needed to get things going on offense to start this 4th quarter, and they certainly did with that drive. Capped off with a touchdown. Pretty good headstand after for Austin Mack.
I'm a sucker for you.
The 4th quarter started and the Alouettes got moving again. Cody Fajardo in a 7-play, 70-yard drive.
Yeah, Alouettes kind of seizing the moment with the Toronto Argonauts. Maybe a little emotionally flat after the injury to Chad Kelly. Fajardo marches him down the field. Contributions from all his receivers on that drive, culminating with Austin Mack's first CFL touchdown of 2024.
Janarian Grant, the punt return for a touchdown in this game. On this kickoff return at the 35, cutting it back to the 40, 45, about the 47, 48-yard line. Nick Arbuckle coming on, the new quarterback for the Argos. Let's go down to Matthew.
Well, Rod, Chad Kelly will be going to Montreal General Hospital for assessment and imaging. And as Nick Arbuckle walked off the sidelines, he took a big, deep breath. The center stage is now for him.
And Arbuckle, a veteran, yes, but not in this kind of playoff situation here in the Eastern Final. We saw him go on the field just to see if they could draw the Alouettes offside, and he didn't run a play, went off, and they kicked the field goal. So ready to run the offense now against Darnell Sankey and that Alouette defense. Can the Argos get momentum back at a critical point in this game? They lead by 5. They still need to move the football. The Toronto 49 throwing in first down, pump fake, trying to find a receiver, looks to the right, and it's off the hands of Kadeem Carey, right to him, but it's incomplete.
Missed opportunity there. Carey perhaps distracted by a player trailing him in coverage. Let the ball get into his body. Darnell Sankey in pursuit.
the crowd here at Molson Stadium is just feeding off the way this game has turned. The noise picking up with the Argo offense on the field. Second down, throwing, and it's caught shy of a first down. DeMonte Coxey has had some big catches in this game. It's still a couple of yards shy after an 8-yard pickup. Third down.
Yeah, they're recognizing that they've got one of the best directional punters in the Canadian Football League in John Haggerty. We talk about situational football all the time. The Toronto Argonauts, with Chad Kelly, maybe a different decision in terms of trying to go for it. You're in just inside the opponent's territory. Here, you're going to try and give Montreal a long field with the punt, try and pin them.
Haggerty tied for the CFL lead among punters for pinning teams inside the 10. And trying to do it again, aiming to the right. Fletcher heading over for it, and he does get it. Just inside the 10. And good coverage there on special teams by Teodric Hansen to take him down. So a long field ahead for Cody Fajardo, but worked impressively with Keon Julian Grant. And ultimately leading to the touchdown pass to Austin Mack. Alouettes still down a score. Coming up in Winnipeg, the Western Final, Zach Collaros, Trevor Harris and the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Brady Oliveira, A.J. Ouellette, Willie Jefferson. What a great cast of stars in this game to see who will go to the Grey Cup. Will Winnipeg get back for the 5th straight year? Harris and the Riders with a thing or two to say about that, I am sure. They meet again in the West Final as they did 3 years ago when Cody Fajardo was Saskatchewan's quarterback and Jason Moss's offensive coordinator. They're down 5, but with the ball. Fourth quarter. Tossing here, and it is complete. And it's Charleston Rambo who takes that one and tiptoes up for a first down to get things started. And a gain of 15 and a critical drive here for both sides.
And it feels like, given the amount of time left, Montreal is going to have multiple possessions. In many ways, it feels almost like there's more pressure on the Toronto defense right now to come up with a big drive and get a stop, get some momentum back in this football game, try and re-energize their team.
Well, that's the thing. The Alouettes certainly have that momentum now. We saw that on the last drive.
Quarterback was cross the line scrimmage.
Threw the ball past the line scrimmage?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll review. Toronto is challenging that the Montreal quarterback was across the line of scrimmage when he threw the ball. We'll review the play.
When you look at it, Fajardo looking for a receiver, Dwayne, and as he ran around with the ball, that is the question. Did he cross the line of scrimmage first?
And we'll take a look here. So there you see the line of scrimmage, about the 16-yard line. Fajardo steps up, foot hits the 15. I think he's okay when that ball is leaving his fingertips.
Still looks well behind the line of scrimmage there.
Foot hits the 16, arms just in front of him. And then his momentum after releasing the ball carries him over the line. I think he's going to be okay on this. I believe the ball was out of his hands when the ball crossed the line of scrimmage.
Certainly looked that way on that look we saw. He's in behind and quickly moved across the line of scrimmage just after it left his hand.
I think they're going to call me past the line of scrimmage.
What's that?
And then, was Rambo out of bounds? Not with the catch, but there. See the
tough to tell, but obviously looking to see if that heel hit the line and step back after catching the ball.
So looking at two aspects of this, was he across the line of scrimmage? And if not, if it is a completed pass, did Rambo step out of bounds? They've looked at both. Command Center have made decisions on that.
After review by the Command Center, the ruling on the field stands. Toronto will be charged a timeout.
Frustration for Ryan Dinwiddie, who thought Fajardo had crossed the line of scrimmage. So the ruling stands, and the ball is up over the 30 for Montreal. A 1st and 10 Alouettes. Down 5. 4th quarter, under 10 minutes to play. Completes it, but McManus is there. So too is Milton on that catch by Cole Speaker.
Yeah, good job rallying to the football there by the Toronto Argonauts. You're going to see a number of players as they're setting up blitz, so you're letting pressure come. Letting guys make their way upfield, but that space vacated by D'Arcangelo on the right side, quickly refilled by McManus to make the play.
With Jared Brinkman bearing down there on Fajardo. They lose 2. It's a 2nd and 12 at their 29. A big second down for this Argo defense. Fajardo off to the right. It is caught. Walter Fletcher can't get the first down. Still a few yards shy. Good chunk of it back, but still not enough. And the punting unit for Montreal will come on.
Yeah, Argos give up a few yards on the possession, but the stop still in Montreal territory. No points allowed is the key. And a little more time off the clock for the Toronto Argonauts, clinging to that 5-point lead.
Joseph Zima, another punter from Australia, who's done very well in the Canadian Football League. This is 4th year with the Alouettes. Sending that one left for Janarian Grant about the 34. As Grant just puts his head down and pulls his way through this time up across the 45. Nick Arbuckle coming back on for the 2nd time in this Argo possession, up by 5. It's nightfall at McGill, and we got a game. We got to finish. 5-point lead by the Argos halfway through the 4th quarter, and Nick Arbuckle, with the injury to Chad Kelly, is in at quarterback. Handing off. They try to establish the running game, which has worked so well for them this season. Kadeem Carey with that rush.
You have to think Montreal is anticipating Toronto, especially on 1st down, is going to lead on that ground game very heavily with the backup quarterback in Arbuckle in there. Toronto tried to create a little bit of misdirection to not be too obvious with what they were doing on that one. Well, let's stack it up.
3 yards for Carey. 2nd and 7, Arbuckle. Has time. And off to Coaxey. 1st down. Weaving his way by Beverett. He's still going. He kept his feet. Great yardage after the catch for DeMonte Coaxey.
That provides a big lift for the Argos bench. Nice effort by Coaxey, who moved tight to the formation, kind of lines up as a tight end before slipping out towards the flat as an outlet. Tyrese Beverett, not a guy who misses a lot of tackles, but there you see him get crossed up by Coaxey. Tremendous job after the catch.
I was going to say, Dwayne, a game-time decision. Didn't have a catch until 15 seconds left in the 1st half, and then followed it up with a touchdown. He's over 100 yards receiving in this game. From the 37, the toss. And that's Janarian Grant. And let him do the rest. Out of the backfield, another good pickup by Grant, who isn't just a special team star in this game. He's had a big catch. He has the run there and close to another 1st down.
Well, Canadian Football League, 9-team league. Toronto, Montreal playing in a 4-team division. They saw a lot of each other during the regular season. 3 regular season matchups between these teams. You want to pull out some wrinkles in the playoffs that you haven't necessarily shown a lot. As I mentioned, Janarian Grant has not been involved on offense really over the last 2 months. Has about 4 touches on offense here today.
And that punt return touchdown as well. From the 27, Alouettes, it's knocked at the line of scrimmage. It falls incomplete. for the Alouettes defensive front, Noel Uguak, who had a big year last year late in the season and on into the playoffs in his rookie season and rejoined the team after being let go by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this year.
Yeah, Uguak lined up on the inside at Amy Berglund. Another Canadian in there on that D-line. Derek Wigan as well. Those guys supplying the heat on Nick Arbuckle. Now 5-point game, the stop, holding them to a field goal. Critical if you're the Montreal defense right now.
From the 27 and a 2nd and 10, Arbuckle to the left. It's caught by Mackay Polk. Big first down, Argos. With Wesley Sutton there, but Polk has the catch and 13 more yards.
Great catch by Polk in tight traffic. A big-time throw from Nick Arbuckle when it was needed. Again, veteran guy. You think going back to last season, the Toronto Argonauts came into the season with Chad Kelly, Cameron Dukes, and Brian Scott, who had one CFL start between the three of them a year ago. Kelly goes on to be CFL MVP. Then you lose Kelly for the first half of this season. That's why and when Nick Arbuckle was brought in.
And working that offense now after the handoff and a short gain there by Kadeen Carey.
Veteran guy. We mentioned he's worked with Ryan Dinwiddie before, and yeah, the history between the two of them goes back to their time in Calgary where Ryan Dinwiddie was an assistant coach. Arbuckle actually had another stint with Toronto with Ryan Dinwiddie as his head coach, competed with McLeod Bethel Thompson for the starting quarterback job. Bethel Thompson won out, Arbuckle traded to Edmonton.
And eventually found his way back to Toronto, as you said. Some insurance after the suspension to Kelly, and he's in now for the injured Chad Kelly. And a 2nd and 9 at the 13, looking into the end zone too far. Intended for Tavares Daniels with Deontay Ruffin right there with him. It sails over both their heads. A 3rd and 9, and so the Alouette defense will hold Toronto to a field goal try, which would still keep it a one-possession game.
A couple of former Calgary Stampeders and Tavares Daniels, Deontay Ruffin doing battle here. Good positioning there by the DB, not beaten by that move to the inside as Daniels heads to the post.
Daniels targeted 3 times in this game, but no catches yet. He had a Big East semifinal last week. A couple of touchdowns against the Ottawa Redblacks. This a chip shot for Hyra-Lau. 20-yard attempt with John Haggerty to put it down to make it an 8-point difference again. On the board for the Argos with another Hyra-Lau field goal in a game where turnovers have loomed so incredibly large, especially the ones given up by the Montreal Alouettes, Dwayne.
Yeah, massive. They get an interception early, run the ball back into Argos territory, fumble the ball. Walter Fletcher breaks a big run in Argos territory, fumbles the football. Cody Fajardo looking to Fletcher as an outlet. He bobbles that ball into the hands of Benji Franklin. 7 points on the board. Cole Speaker in scoring territory. Fumbles the football. And then Fajardo as well within field goal range. 4 turnovers in field goal range.
From the Montreal 40 and the first down, coming back to it. Charleston Rambo has the catch. Still shy of a first down. It'll be a 2nd and short. 3:48. You start to be mindful of the clock for the Alouettes, who are a touchdown and a 2-point conversion behind.
Oh, very much so.
Left hash here,
8-point game.
Right swap, 43 stone, WY Hebrew, Z snap. On, ready?
In which you've essentially given up a minimum of 12 points with where you turned over the football, not to mention Toronto having an interception for a TD.
Walter Fletcher first down and a little bit more close to midfield. Sticks move to the Alouettes. 3.5 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. The defending champs trying to get back to the Grey Cup. The Argos won it the year before them. They're trying to get back.
What's remarkable is that this is a 1-score ball game when Montreal has turned the ball over 5 times, given up a touchdown on special teams, and 1 to the Toronto defense.
1st and 10 and incomplete. Intended for Rambo just across midfield. Another play before the 3-minute warning. Getting late here in Montreal. Nightfall. Stadium lights on in what began in a nice sunny November afternoon. And a critical point now for these teams. With a spot in Grey Cup 111 a week from tomorrow at BC Place in Vancouver on the line. And still to come in Winnipeg, we find out who wins the West. Saskatchewan Roughriders, Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Fajardo stands in and completes it. And Julian Grant's not done. Kept his feet, worked his way back, got it inside the 40. 17 more yards for the leading receiver of the Alouettes in this Eastern Final. The 3-minute warning has been given. The Alouettes are down a touchdown, but they're driving. Jason Moss's Alouettes are trying to come back. Ryan Dinwiddie's Argos are trying to hang on. Let's go down to Matthew.
Yet again, it's the Alouettes with critical moment, 2.5 minutes to go, down 8, and here we go. Cody Fajardo is driving. A lot of energy on the outside lines after Keon Julian Grant had that big game, but on the Argos sidelines, I have to tell you, since Chad Kelly was taken to the hospital, it's been very quiet. They're looking for another big moment, Rod.
They had a 2-score lead, Matthew, and it is down now to, well, it went down to 5. It's back up to 8, but here comes Montreal. From the Toronto 39, another completion. And pushing forward, Austin Mack for the first down. A gain of 11. Mack, who had a touchdown earlier this quarter, that has gotten the Alouettes closer.
And what a time for Austin Mack to come alive, limited to just 10 catches. In limited duty down the stretch of the regular season, battling injuries. One of the most dynamic receivers in the Canadian Football League last season.
Inside the Argo 30, pump fake Fajardo, trying to escape Ralph Hawley. Still running, keeping, and out of bounds before Deshaun Amos can get to him at about the 23. 6 more yards on the legs of Cody Fajardo.
Fajardo's done a good job in this ball game, using his legs, whether by design or by necessity, to extend plays, keep some drives alive.
Rush for 49. He's passed for over 300. Cody Fajardo in a 2nd and 4. Quickly rid of it. It's caught by Walter Fletcher, and he waltzes in for the touchdown. You want drama? We've got drama in this Eastern Final with under 2 minutes to go. And the Alouettes a 2-point convert away from tying this game.
Tremendous recognition and execution by the Montreal Alouettes on this play. Quick slant from the outside by Rambo. The traffic prevents Winton McManus from being able to track Walter Fletcher out into the flat on the play. We'll get another look at it after. But great play design, essentially to rub or pick McManus.
This is to tie the game. Fajardo into the end zone, intercepted. Benji Franklin, who had a pick 6 earlier in this game, he's taken down in the end zone by Tyler Snead. So what it means is the Argos are still leading, but by only 2 points, with 1:56 to go in the 4th quarter.
A big play by Benji Franklin. Tyler Snead coming from the back. He stays in, help out in protection. Austin Mack in the back of the end zone. Good reaction there by Benji Franklin, falling off to help out.
Seven plays, 70 yards, just like the last drive they had. First it was the Austin Mack touchdown in this fourth quarter, and then Walter Fletcher gets one. And here we go. 30-28. 1:56 to go in the fourth. And it's all about the right to play one more game in 8 days at BC Place in Vancouver against either Saskatchewan or Winnipeg. Jose Maltos to kick off. Alouette defense needs to get the ball back for their own. Janarian Grant, game breaker, but not on that play. Good coverage. Wesley Sutton and Lorenzo Burns to take him down. Another look at that Alouettes drive, Dwayne.
Yeah, Cody Fajardo, we talked earlier about the confidence he has after winning the big game last season. Very poised in this situation. Couple of big throws. Tucking the ball to run and extend the drive in there. Great execution by the Alouette offense to free up Walter Fletcher for the touchdown. The fans are loving it here at Molson Stadium.
Fajardo, by the way, was 5 for 8 and 2 touchdowns in the second half, facing the blitz by the Argos, responding well under pressure. In the Toronto 30, Kadeem Carey, not much there. A yard, maybe 2. And it's stacked up inside as Toronto known for its ability to run the football, but as you talked about with the sudden quarterback change Toronto had to make.
Yeah, I mean, situation kind of dictates for Montreal that they're going to dedicate ample defensive resources to stopping the run right now.
It was a timeout by the Alouettes, and Noel Thorpe's defense has Toronto dealing with a second and long. If they can stop them and force them to punt, they'd still have plenty of time to get the ball back, needing a field goal to win. Alouettes fans loud and on their feet, sensing the moment. Critical second and long for the Argos and Nick Arbuckle now. With time, and it's caught by David Ungerer. Big first down, Toronto. As Arbuckle quickly runs up to greet him.
Yeah, what a gutsy throw here from Nick Arbuckle. Takes his time in the pocket and delivers that strike over the middle to find David Ungerer. Just had a step on Cabianento. Clutch throw from the veteran Arbuckle.
Gain of 20 yards on the first catch for David Ungerer in this game. Approaching midfield. Toronto still with the ball. 1:18 on the clock. Carey back to the ground and a couple more yards. And Nick Arbuckle, a veteran quarterback, largely in a backup role. He's been in a lot of situations in his CFL career, but nothing like this. Trying to hang on and lead his team to a victory in the Eastern Final and get to the Grey Cup next week. Under a minute now. 2nd and 8. Alouettes need the ball back.
Timeout, Toronto.
As Ryan Dinwiddie uses his timeout.
Yeah, critical that they make sure they've got the right personnel, right play call in this situation. Let the clock run down a little bit before taking that timeout.
Timer, can you please reset the clock to 54.0 seconds?
To put a second back on the clock. If you missed it earlier in the game, Chad Kelly on a running play late in the third quarter suffered a right leg injury. As Matthew Shinetti reported, he was taken off for imaging at Montreal General Hospital. Very emotional moment for the Argonaut team, with Nick Arbuckle coming on at quarterback now as they're trying to protect their lead and get to the Grey Cup. 2nd and 8. Deep look down the left, and contact made, and interference is going to be called against Tyrese Beverett on Dejan Brissett.
No question about the call.
Pass interference. Montreal number 26. Spot of the foul. Automatic. First down.
You see Beverett launching himself towards the Toronto receiver, recognizes by the reaction of Brissett that the ball is coming, and kind of runs through him on the play. Bold call. The Argos now get into victory formation.
They can just take a knee. Nick Arbuckle. And the Argos is closing in on clinching a spot in Grey Cup 111. And we wonder if it's shades of 2007 when Winnipeg faced the Argos in Toronto, and the Bombers won the Eastern Final but lost their quarterback Kevin Glenn. And a young QB by the name of Ryan Dinwiddie was called into action in the 2007 Grey Cup, his first CFL start. 17 years ago. Arbuckle.
Well, Nick Arbuckle.
No. Hey, we're going to take...
Timer, please reset the clock to 25.0 seconds.
What? You want us to fall with 1 second? Let's go. Hey, here's what we're gonna do. Throw it to let's go like a victory formation. Let's go take a safety to Y. Okay, are you sure? Yes. Tell Davaros to take.
So typically deep in your own territory, you would have a play to give up a safety. Obviously up by 2. They're not going to run all the way back to their end zone, give up a safety, but it's the same play design where they're going to get the ball to Morris Daniels deep, and he's going to run around as long as he can, essentially, and run out this clock.
So 4 seconds, 3, counting it down. They lost their quarterback, but they won the game. And Ryan Dinwiddie's Toronto Argonauts are going to the Grey Cup. They hang on, and they defeat the Alouettes and get a measure of revenge for last year.
Football-wise, turnovers are the story of this game. Emotionally, psychologically, the Toronto Argonauts' ability to hang in and do just enough, make the plays they needed to make down the stretch. Nick Arbuckle coming in the toughest of situations with the injury to Chad Kelly. He, along with the Toronto defense, getting them through, guiding them to this victory.
Game took several turns, including when Chad Kelly got hurt, and Nick Arbuckle came on to see if he could help Toronto hang on to this victory, and he did. He's standing by with Matthew.
Rod, this game took all kinds of turns, and Nick Arbuckle came in, and in a crucial moment, you found David Unger over the middle. That was the first player you went to. Tell me, in a moment like that, where you lose Chad Kelly, but you have to come in, how this team stayed together.
Oh man, Chad's our guy. Chad's our fucking leader. Sorry, the curse word. He's our leader, so as soon as he goes down, he talked all week about he has our back and we have his back. We had his back. We told him that when he was down, that we got it for him. That's all we cared about. This isn't our goal. This team was just in our way. We're on our way to what we were trying to accomplish this whole season.
Nick, you and I have spoken a lot over the last few years. Maybe COVID went ahead and took an opportunity away from you in Ottawa, but you might have an opportunity to lead a team now into the Grey Cup. What is this team going to have to do to prepare over the next 7 days to get to BC?
We're going to have to do what we always do. We've always taken it one game at a time, just trying to go 1-0 every week. It doesn't take anything special. It just takes the same consistent, high-level professional effort day in and day out to prepare and get better. We've done that all season. That's why no moment was too big for anybody, and it won't be too big for us coming in a week.
Thank you for this.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Rod?
Well, Matthew, just a stunned crowd here at Molson Stadium, and Alouettes players as well. The year they had at 12-5-1, and Ryan Dinwiddie and the Argos remember well the feeling a year ago when they went 16-2 and were upset by the Alouettes on their home field. A very different type of game, certainly score-wise. This one close the entire way. But like last year, turnovers had a big hand in ultimately deciding the winner.
Well, they really did. So much of the talk coming into this football game was about the reversal of situations from last year. A year ago, it was the Argos were the team that were sort of home and cooled in first place, waiting for the East Division final. Montreal was the team gaining momentum down the stretch. This time, you had the opposite. Montreal clinches first early, kind of managing things, trying to keep people rested, healthy, but sharp down the stretch. The struggle that it is to maintain that balance. Meanwhile, Toronto, with Chad Kelly coming back the second half of the season, gaining momentum down the stretch. But it gets into the game, and that first place team didn't look that sharp, particularly in terms of taking care of the football. Turnovers. I mean, Montreal is going to be regretting the mistakes they made, the self-inflicted wounds in terms of turnovers for the entire offseason.
Turnovers and turning points. One big one for the Argos. Final two plays of the first half when Chad Kelly found DeMonte Coxey, including that touchdown that really changed the nature of this game. He's standing by with Matthew.
Well, DeMonte, Ryan Dinwiddie told me this week that you were about 60% healthy. He got more than 60% out of you. What's been the mentality of this team all week, knowing that explosive plays and in a moment, especially when you see what Nick Arbuckle did coming off the bench for Chad Kelly, this team always delivers?
You know, we work, you know what I'm saying, from the quarterbacks to specialists to special team defense. You know, we all work hard. We get to practice. We take every snap serious. So, you know, Nick knew what to do when he came in. You know, the whole team knew what we do. You know, we've been in these situations before. We practice these situations. So it's just good to see it come together, you know, in real time.
16-2 last year. You lose to the Alouettes at home. You come back here. Is this revenge? Is there satisfaction? How has this team grown over the last year?
We've grown a lot. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't say it's revenge. I just feel like, you know, God put us in situations that we don't understand, but, you know, they always seem to unfold in the way He wanted us to, you know. So we just took that with a grain of salt, and every day we chop wood and chop wood and chop wood, and just we believed that we was going to be back in this situation again, and God put it in front of us, and we made it happen.
We'll see you in Vancouver. Thanks so much.
Yes, sir.
Rod.
Thank you, Matthew, on such an emotional day for Dinwiddie and Arbuckle and all the Argos, losing Chad Kelly late in the third quarter, which looked like a serious right leg injury. He went off to hospital, and Nick Arbuckle comes in. Bottom line for them, though, off to the Grey Cup against Winnipeg or Saskatchewan. They faced the Bombers 2 years ago. They faced the Riders last in the Grey Cup back in 1997. So that outcome still to be decided. But what has been decided is who is representing the East and will be presented with that East Division trophy heading off to Grey Cup 111, the 2024 Toronto Argonauts. Now let's head down to the trophy presentation now, Matthew.
Mesdames et messieurs, vos champions de la division Est en route vers la Coupe Grey, les Argonauts de Toronto.
On the road to the Grey Cup, these are your Eastern Division champion, Toronto Argonauts. Ryan, this game had everything. What did you learn, though, about the mentality and execution of your team?
Well, we went as is planned, right? We said we got to get turnovers, right? We got to make a play on special teams. We did that, right? Defense did a heck of a job keeping us in it when the offense wasn't playing as well as we should have, right? But also, I'm sick right now for our quarterback. right? You see how his teammates rallied with him. They went and see him down. We're going to go get it done for him, okay? We trusted Nick.
That trust has been through all this lineup all season long. How has this team grown over a year when 16-2, you lose in the East Final, it's a disappointment, but you come back to the home of the team that beat you, and now you're off to the Grey Cup?
Excited for it, right? I think those guys, this locker room, these men, great locker room. They stuck to the process all year. We said at the end of the 60 minutes, we're going to find a way to win this football game, and obviously we did.
Enjoy it, Ryan. Congratulations.
Thanks,
See you in Vancouver.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
No one touches the trophy as they celebrate winning it, but the right to go off to the Grey Cup against either Winnipeg or Saskatchewan.
Well, the Toronto Argonauts talked after last season about maybe the path to the East Final didn't give them enough adversity. They have certainly been battle tested here in 2024, including today, and now an opportunity to go to the big game.
Quarterbacking story, a big one for the Argos, but they win the game. They win the East, off to Grey Cup 111 in Vancouver next week.
So the Toronto Argonauts, the first team to be back into the Grey Cup. We await the winner of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers taking on the Saskatchewan Roughriders in the Western Final. We'll get to that in just a moment, but just this game.